84. Talk at Hotel Victoria, 23rd July 1912. Boston, Massachusetts. Notes by Edna McKinney. The Baha'is must not engage in political movements which lead to sedition. They must interest themselves in movements which conduce to law and order. In Persia at the present time, the Baha'is have no part in the revolutionary upheavals which have terminated in lawlessness and rebellion. Nevertheless, a Baha'i may hold a political office and be interested in politics of the right type. Ministers, state officials and governor-generals in Persia are Baha'is, and there are many other Baha'is holding governmental positions. But nowhere throughout the world should the followers of Baha'u'llah be engaged in seditious movements. For example, if there should be an uprising here in America, having for its purpose the establishment of a despotic government, the Baha'is should not be connected with it. The Baha'i cause covers all economic and social questions under the heading and ruling of its laws. The essence of the Baha'i spirit is that in order to establish a better social order and economic condition, there must be allegiance to the laws and principles of government. Under the laws which are to govern the world, the socialists may justly demand human rights, but without resort to force and violence. The governments will enact these laws, establishing just legislation and economics, in order that all humanity may enjoy a full measure of welfare and privilege, but this will always be according to legal protection and procedure. Without legislative administration, rights and demands fail, and the welfare of the Commonwealth cannot be realized. Today, the method of demand is the strike and resort to force, which is manifestly wrong and destructive of human foundations. Rightful privilege and demand must be set forth in laws and regulations. While thousands are considering these questions, we have more essential purposes. The fundamentals of the whole economic condition are divine in nature and are associated with the world of the heart and spirit. It is fully explained in the Baha'i teaching, and without knowledge of its principles, no improvement in the economic state can be realized. The Baha'is will bring about this improvement and betterment, but not through sedition and appeal to physical force, not through warfare, but welfare. Hearts must be so cemented together, love must become so dominant, that the rich shall most willingly extend assistance to the poor and take steps to establish these economic adjustments permanently. If it is accomplished in this way, it will be most praiseworthy, because then it will be for the sake of God and in the pathway of His service. For example, it will be as if the rich inhabitants of a city should say, "It is neither just nor lawful that we should possess great wealth, while there is abject poverty in this community," and then willingly give their wealth to the poor, retaining only as much as will enable them to live comfortably. Strive, therefore, to create love in the hearts, in order that they may become glowing and radiant. When that love is shining, it will permeate other hearts, even as this electric light illumines its surroundings. When the love of God is established, everything else will be realized. This is the true foundation of all economics. Reflect upon it. Endeavor to become the cause of the traction of souls rather than to enforce minds. Manifest true economics to the people. show what love is, what kindness is, what true severance is, and generosity. This is the important thing for you to do. Act in accordance with the teachings of Baha'u'llah. All his books will be translated. Now is the time for you to live in accordance with his words. Let your deeds be the real translation of their meaning. Economic questions will not attract hearts. The love of God alone will attract them. Economic questions are most interesting, but the power which moves, controls, and attracts the hearts of men is the love of God. 85. Talk to Theosophical Society, the Kensington. 24th July 1912. Exeter and Boylston Streets, Boston, Massachusetts. Notes by Edna McKinney. In the world of existence, there is nothing so important as spirit, nothing so essential as the spirit of man. The spirit of man is the most noble of phenomena. The spirit of man is the meeting between man and God. The spirit of man is the animus of human life and the collective centre of all human virtues. The spirit of man is the cause of the illumination of this world. The world may be likened to the body. Man is the spirit of the body because the light of the world is the human spirit. Man is the life of the world, and the life of man is the spirit. The happiness of the world depends upon man, and the happiness of man is dependent upon the spirit. The world may be likened to the lamp chimney, whereas man is the light. Man himself may be likened to the lamp. His spirit is the light within the lamp. Therefore, we will speak of this spirit. The philosophers of the world are divided into two classes: materialists, who deny the spirit and its immortality, and the divine philosophers, the wise men of God, the true Illuminati, who believe in the spirit and its continuance hereafter. The ancient philosophers taught that man consists simply of the material elements which compose his cellular structure, and that when this composition is disintegrated, the life of man becomes extinct. They reasoned that man is body only, and from this elemental composition, the organs and their functions, the senses, powers and attributes which characterize man have proceeded, and that these disappear completely with the physical body. This is practically the statement of all the materialists. The divine philosophers proclaim that the spirit of man is ever living and eternal. And because of the objections of the materialists, these wise men of God have advanced rational proofs to support the validity of their statement. Inasmuch as the materialist philosophers deny the books of God, scriptural demonstration is not evidence to them, and materialistic proofs are necessary. Answering them, the men of divine knowledge have said that all existing phenomena may be resolved into grades or kingdoms, classified progressively as mineral, vegetable, animal, and human, each of which possesses its degree of function and intelligence. When we consider the mineral, we find that it exists and is possessed of the power of affinity or combination. The vegetable possesses the qualities of the mineral, plus the augmentative virtue or power of growth. It is therefore evident that the vegetable kingdom is superior to the mineral. The animal kingdom, in turn, possesses the qualities of the mineral and vegetable, plus the 5 senses of perception, whereof the kingdoms below it are lacking. Likewise, The power of memory inherent in the animal does not exist in the lower kingdoms. Just as the animal is more noble than the vegetable and mineral, so man is superior to the animal. The animal is bereft of ideality, that is to say, it is a captive of the world of nature and not in touch with that which lies within and beyond nature. It is without spiritual susceptibilities, deprived of the attractions of consciousness, unconscious of the world of God, and incapable of deviating from the law of nature. It is different with man. Man is possessed of the emanations of consciousness. He has perception, ideality, and is capable of discovering the mysteries of the universe. All the industries, inventions, and facilities surrounding our daily life were at one time hidden secrets of nature, but the reality of man penetrated them and made them subject to his purposes. According to nature's laws, they should have remained latent and hidden, but man, having transcended those laws, discovered these mysteries and brought them out of the plane of the invisible into the realm of the known and visible. How wonderful is the spirit of man! One of the mysteries of natural phenomena is electricity. Man has discovered this illimitable power and made it captive to his uses. How many of nature's secrets have been penetrated and revealed? Columbus, while in Spain, discovered America. Man has accurately determined that the sun is stationary while the earth revolves about it. The animal cannot do this. Man perceives the mirage to be an illusion. This is beyond the power of the animal. The animal can only know through sense impressions and cannot grasp intellectual realities. The animal cannot conceive of the power of thought. This is an abstract intellectual matter and not limited to the senses. The animal is incapable of knowing that the earth is round. In brief, abstract intellectual phenomena are human powers. All creation below the kingdom of man is the captive of nature. It cannot deviate in the slightest degree from nature's laws. But man wrests the sword of dominion from nature's hand and uses it upon nature's head. For example, it is a natural exigency that man should be a dweller upon the earth. But the power of the human spirit transcends this limitation, and he soars aloft in aeroplanes. This is contrary to the law and requirement of nature. He sails at high speed upon the ocean and dives beneath its surface in submarines. He imprisons the human voice in a phonograph and communicates in the twinkling of an eye from east to west. These are things we know to be contrary to the limitations of natural law. Man transcends nature, while the mineral, vegetable, and animal are helplessly subject to it. This can be done only through the power of the spirit, because the spirit is the reality. In the physical powers and senses, however, man and the animal are partners. In fact, the animal is often superior to man in sense perception. For instance, the vision of some animals is exceedingly keen, and the hearing of others most acute. Consider the instinct of a dog, how much greater than that of man. But although the animal shares with man all the physical virtues and senses, a spiritual power has been bestowed upon man, of which the animal is devoid. This is a proof that there is something in man above and beyond the endowment of the animal, a faculty and virtue peculiar to the human kingdom, which is lacking in the lower kingdoms of existence. This is the spirit of man. All these wonderful human accomplishments are due to the efficacy and penetrating power of the spirit of man. If man were bereft of this spirit, none of these accomplishments would have been possible. This is as evident as the sun at midday. All the organisms of material creation are limited to an image or form. That is to say, each created material being is possessed of a form. It cannot possess two forms at the same time. For example, a body may be spherical, triangular, or square, but it is impossible for it to be two of these shapes simultaneously. It may be triangular, but if it is to become square, it must first rid itself of the triangular shape. It is absolutely impossible for it to be both at the same time. Therefore, it is evident in the reality of material organisms that different forms cannot be simultaneously possessed. In the spiritual reality of man, however, all geometrical figures can be simultaneously conceived, while in physical realities, one image must be forsaken in order that another may be possible. This is the law of change and transformation, and change and transformation are precursors of mortality. Were it not for this change in form, phenomena would be immortal. But because the phenomenal existence is subject to transformation, it is mortal. The reality of man, however, is possessed of all virtues. It is not necessary for him to give up one image for another as mere physical bodies do. Therefore, in that reality, there is no change or transformation. It is immortal and everlasting. The body of man may be in America, while his spirit is laboring and working in the Far East, discovering, organizing, and planning. While occupied in governing, making laws, and erecting a building in Russia, his body is still here in America. What is this power, which, notwithstanding that it is embodied in America, is operating at the same time in the Orient, organizing, destroying, upbuilding? It is the spirit of man. This is irrefutable. When you wish to reflect upon or consider a matter, you consult something within you. You say, shall I do it or shall I not do it? Is it better to make this journey or abandon it? Whom do you consult? Who is within you deciding this question? Surely there is a distinct power, an intelligent ego. Were it not distinct from your ego, you would not be consulting it. It is greater than the faculty of thought. It is your spirit which teaches you, which advises and decides upon matters. Who is it that interrogates? Who is it that answers? There is no doubt that it is the spirit, and that there is no change or transformation in it, for it is not a composition of elements, and anything that is not composed of elements is eternal. Change and transformation are peculiarities of composition. There is no change and transformation in the spirit. In proof of this, the body may become weakened in its members. It may be dismembered, or one of its members may be incapacitated. The whole body may be paralyzed, and yet the mind, the spirit, remains ever the same. The mind decides, the thought is perfect, and yet the hand is withered, the feet have become useless, the spinal column is paralyzed, and there is no muscular movement at all. But the spirit is in the same status. Dismember a healthy man, the spirit is not dismembered. Amputate his feet, his spirit is there. He may become lame. The spirit is not affected. The spirit is ever the same. No change or transformation can you perceive. And because there is no change or transformation, it is everlasting and permanent. Consider man while in a state of sleep. It is evident that all his parts and members are at a standstill, are functionless. His eye does not see, his ear does not hear, his feet and hands are motionless, but nevertheless, he does see in the world of dreams. He does hear, he speaks, he walks, he may even fly in an aeroplane. Therefore, it becomes evident that though the body be dead, yet the spirit is alive and permanent. Nay, the perceptions may be keener when man's body is asleep. The flight may be higher, the hearing may be more acute. All the functions are there, and yet the body is at a standstill. Hence, it is proof that there is a spirit in the man, and in this spirit there is no distinction as to whether the body be asleep or absolutely dead and dependent. The spirit is not incapacitated by these conditions. It is not bereft of its existence. It is not bereft of its perfections. The proofs are many, innumerable. These are all rational proofs. Nobody can refute them. As we have shown that there is a spirit, and that this spirit is permanent and everlasting, we must strive to learn of it. May you become informed of its power. Hasten to render it divine, to have it become sanctified and holy, and make it the very light of the world, illumining the east and the west. 86. Talk at Hotel Victoria, 25th July 1912. Boston, Massachusetts. Notes by Edna McKinney. I am very happy to greet you here today. This is the second time the breeze of God has wafted over Boston. I am expecting results from this visit and hope that my coming may not be fruitless. The results I expect are these: that the individual soul shall be released from self and desire and freed from the bondage of satanic suggestions. May the mirrors of hearts be cleansed from dust in order that the Sun of Truth may be reflected therein. Man possesses two kinds of susceptibilities: the natural emotions, which are like dust upon the mirror, and spiritual susceptibilities, which are merciful and heavenly characteristics. There is a power which purifies the mirror from dust and transforms its reflection into intense brilliancy and radiance, so that spiritual susceptibilities may chasten the hearts and heavenly bestowals sanctify them. What is the dust which obscures the mirror? It is attachment to the world, avarice, envy, love of luxury and comfort, haughtiness and self-desire. This is the dust which prevents reflection of the rays of the sun of reality in the mirror. The natural emotions are blameworthy and are like rust which deprives the heart of the bounties of God. But sincerity, justice, humility, severance, and love for the believers of God will purify the mirror and make it radiant with reflected rays from the Sun of Truth. It is my hope that you may consider this matter, that you may search out your own imperfections and not think of the imperfections of anybody else. Strive with all your power to be free from imperfections. Heedless souls are always seeking faults in others. What can the hypocrite know of others' faults when he is blind to his own? This is the meaning of the words in the 7 Valleys. It is a guide for human conduct. As long as a man does not find his own faults, he can never become perfect. Nothing is more fruitful for man than the knowledge of his own shortcomings. The Blessed Perfection says, "I wonder at the man who does not find his own imperfections."